Yay, we are live. Okay, hopefully streaming to all of the things. All of the things. So, dog choking on my feet. That's good. So, we're on week 3 of talking about resilience, and it's a 5-part series that we're doing. Today, we're going to be specifically talking about resilience and why movement has something to do with how resilient you are. And by resilience, what we're talking about is how quickly you recover from challenges, uh, disappointments, injuries, uh, eating something that doesn't work for you, anything that's causing a challenge to your system mentally, emotionally, or physically. The resilience is how quickly your body comes back from that. And as you continue to struggle through life in general, if you're not bouncing back, that's causing more of a stressor on your system too, and actually hurting your resilience as a whole. So the more resilient you are, the easier it is for you to heal. So Anthony and I are going to be chatting today a little bit more about what movement has to do with your resilience factor, your ability to bounce back. So I know I use a lot of somatic techniques in the work that I do with our clients as far as the emotional healing components, and Anthony does more of the physical healing components as well when it comes to working out. So Anthony, do you want to take that side of it, the obvious side first, the working out, physical therapy, training, all of that stuff?
Yeah, let's just call it exercise, and it's not only, well, Kirsten will get into more of the breathing, which is still, you're exercising your lungs and your respiratory system, your heart. So it's all under that, umbrella. So exercise, movement, moving the body, whatever you want to call it, it's so under not only under promoted, but I think it's very underappreciated
Definitely.
too. And at least in this country, we have a whole section in our book about the benefits of working out. I think most people believe that it's good for you. The body was meant to move. A really good friend of mine used to say, "I'd rather burn out than rust out," and I get it. In other words, just don't sit around because that's not what the body was meant for. With that being said, you don't have to train, at a super high intensity. Some of our, and it really just depends on the particular person and what they're dealing with, and if they're dealing with adrenal dysfunction, that's going to have an impact on the intensity or level of exercise that people do. But I'm a huge fan of weight bearing exercise, resistance training. It doesn't necessarily have to be like weights, it can be resistance tubing or bands, anything to help with weight bearing. There's a lot of just body weight things that you can do. You don't really need special equipment necessarily, but I'm a big fan of that because not only does it help build and keep the muscle strong, but it also does the same for bones. Several of our clients or people we talk to had, and if I'm getting off on a tangent, just cut me off, but are either dealing with or were recently diagnosed or have questions about, or maybe it runs in the family, osteopenia, osteoporosis, and weight bearing exercise is an enormous part to help with that. But the body was meant to move. It's it's a big important factor on the rebound, on bouncing back from any kind of a physical, emotional, chemical, stress that you may be dealing with. But I recommend, even if it's just going out start small. Start with going out for walks. It's nice weather pretty much everywhere in the country or most places in the country. Just start with that. Take your dog out for a walk. What's that saying? If your dog is overweight, you're not getting enough exercise or something
Yeah.
like that. So yeah, not to get into too much details, but move the body to some degree. Cardiovascular exercise is important, but if I had to pick something, it would be more weight bearing exercise because of the benefits on the muscles, the bones, and you can get a cardiovascular benefit from that also.
say that, you know, people with osteoporosis, they so
Yeah, you're back. I don't know what happened there.
yeah. So we're going to go before is this idea that, you know, when people are breaking bones, a lot of it is because they're falling more as well. They don't have good balance. They don't have good stability. And that has a lot to do with.
Right.
Go ahead.
It's amazing statistically when a person because of, you know, osteopenia, osteoporosis, it's not from just everyday movement, it's from falls. And the percentage increase of, or decrease, let's say, the percentage of decrease of falls is talking about like a few percent. It's like 50, 60 or more percent is drastically reduced for people that exercise. So just exercising alone for, you know, if that's a concern, exercise alone can help just from a falling perspective, never mind strengthening the bone perspective.
Right. So it becomes really important, right? Stability. And when you feel like you're emotionally unstable, if you feel like you're mentally unstable, and I don't mean that you're crazy. That's not what we're saying. When you feel like you're not in balance, you literally physically will show up not in balance. So if you're taking on more stressors emotionally, you're taking on more mental stress, your body is going to be physically challenged in a way. So if you can, then you can do it the other way, where you can impact the emotion and the mental by going through the physical as well. So working out is going to help a ton. The other thing that working out and movement helps with is blood flow. And when you have effective blood flow, your body is able to detox more effectively. It's able to move things that are not serving you through your system more effectively. Imbalances, viruses, infections, things like that. So when your body is in flow, you're going to have more flow emotionally, mentally, and physically. If you have challenges where you can't remember thoughts, you can't remember words, you get stuck, you feel stagnant, you literally are saying, I feel stuck and can't move on, I can't make decisions. When you work out or you do movement activities, the body will be in better flow. And when the body is in better flow, it will release things on an emotional level as well as a physical level. So it's not just for kicks, right? The other thing that I want Anthony to really stress here and get into, because he's going to do this better than I can, is the idea that we have to do all of this cardio all of the time, and that we resist using weights because we don't want to bulk up. And women, I hear this from women a lot too. Well, I want to lose weight, so now I'm going to go do an hour and a half of cardio. But they're resisting the resistance exercises, which is really where you're going to get a lot of the benefit, especially as we get older, especially as we're going through perimenopause and menopause. We really, really, really need the resistance exercises, the weight-bearing exercises far more than the long cardio. And so, Anthony, I thought you could kick into that.
Yeah. In short, muscle burns more calories than either not having that muscle or fat. Yeah, you burn a lot of calories doing cardio, but you build absolutely no muscle doing cardio at all. So, and again, I'm not saying it's not beneficial. It is. It's a good thing to get your heart rate up and keep it elevated, but that could be done with weight-bearing exercise, weight training, you know, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, so you end up more with that skinny fat when you're doing all
cardio.
There's
lots of flabby people on doing cardio.
Yeah, the idea of skinny fat, right? So you're holding on to more of the fat. You're losing more of the muscle. Anthony and I were just watching another documentary, because this is what we do for fun, the other day, where they were looking at people from all perspectives on what their diet was and what their workouts were and a bunch of other things. And they were doing lots of studies and lots of labs on them to really determine. And what they were finding is that a lot of the people who were leaning harder into the cardio and they weren't doing the weight-bearing exercises were losing muscle. and you're losing more muscle and you're struggling with more issues, because the muscle is really important to build the bones and to really build a strong, healthy system, and a system that is continuing to burn calories, burn fat, whether you're working out or not. And the muscle really helps you do that. I think a lot of women especially miss that point.
Right. I mean, women, you're right. I have heard that where women will say, or they're afraid or not interested in lifting weights because they think they get big and bulky. And, don't confuse that. There's plenty of women out there that have muscle that is still incredibly feminine. So don't confuse that with, a 230 pounds, bodybuilder. That your body's not going to allow that. You don't have the testosterone or just the genes to allow to put on that much muscle. So don't be afraid or don't not lift weights because trying to come up with some fancy way to say it. In other words, lift weights.
Yeah,
it's really, really, really good for you.
Yeah,
and there's never too late to start. And I really respect when I see people in the gym. They're pretty much just starting out, and there's never too late to start. Just make a decision.
Yeah. And get somebody who knows what they're doing to help you with this too. I mean, Anthony helps our clients with a lot of this stuff, but if you have the opportunity to start with a gym, a lot of times they'll give you a free workout with one of their trainers to start. I mean, at least start somewhere where you're becoming familiarized with the equipment, because it can be incredibly overwhelming and upsetting to go to a gym when you don't really know what the equipment is for. You don't understand why you're using what you're using. Get a basic workout down, and then you get in there and you become more familiar, and you start to become more familiar with your body. And that's the other piece of this that I really want you to understand, is that there's a lot of things. So trauma is held in the body. It's not held in the mind. So when you have trauma experiences, you have conditioned experiences that were dangerous as far as your subconscious was concerned. It locks that in, and those things get locked into the cells and the tissues of your body. The only way to really get them out is through movement. And so a lot of the work that I do with clients, and we actually just did a couple of weeks ago, we did a somatic healing retreat where people physically came to Arizona. We had a colleague come in with us to do some work as well. She did some body work with people, as I was also doing a lot of the work as well. And we helped move that trauma physically out of the system. So people will say to me, I don't remember, I know this happened, but I don't remember a lot of the details. I'm like, well, you may not remember it in the imagination, in the mind, but your body remembers it. It remembers all of the pieces of it. So that's why I think a lot of times talk therapy becomes a challenge for a lot of people, because you're blocking you're blocking the conscious mind from seeing the pieces, but your body's holding on to it. So you can talk all day and all night about what you remember and what you don't, but that doesn't release that trauma from the cells and the tissues, because it lives in the body. So you need techniques that get you into the subconscious, that get you into theta state, that get you into a place in your body to help release that trauma to the surface so that you can eliminate it. And a lot of our clients, we do certain techniques with certain breath work and certain imagination and certain hypnosis. We do a variety of different techniques here, using a variety of different tools that help you get to a somatic release point, a subconscious theta state release point, where you don't ever really sometimes know all of the details in the conscious mind. And the conscious mind is really only about 10% of what's really happening. It's the subconscious, the body, the cells and tissues that are really holding the memory of these experiences. So if you're not doing something that is helping you move beyond the conscious brain and get you into the body, you're not going to release a lot of those traumas that you know are there, because they're showing up as pain. They're showing up as foggy brain. They're showing up as imbalance. They're showing up as hormone dysfunction. They're showing up as adrenal distress. They're showing up as all these other problems. Your body knows there's an issue and it can't release it. So a lot of what we do with people is help you get into a movement space, into a release space, so that it can move out of your cells and tissues. So when you're working out, you're doing, whether it's cardio, you're doing weight resistance training, you're doing some of the techniques that we do here through breath work, where you're physically moving the rib cage, you're physically moving the lungs, you're moving the body, you're getting things out of your system. Some of the things that we get to do at some of the retreats become really incredibly amazing because we're physically here with everybody. So we're doing some of these things physically in the same space. And then you have that kind of vibration and that energy that's moving things through. We've done things with drumming. We've done things with dance. We've done things with other movement that is literally shaking up the body and allowing this trauma to surface. And some of our clients will come back after one session of doing some of these things and saying, I feel lighter than I felt in decades. I feel open in a way that I haven't felt in a long time. I know something was released, though they don't always know what happened, what officially was released. They just know that they start making decisions better. They know that their mind is clearer. They start sleeping more effectively. We had a woman come to us a couple of weeks ago who's been there, done that. She has gone through every practitioner, every person. She's a connection to a friend of mine long ago. And she showed back up and she said, I've done all the things. I've taken every test. I've done all the stuff. And I said, well, here, I want you to try this technique here. And she said, I don't know what happened during that. She said, but I'm sleeping like I haven't slept in years. She said, I feel better. I feel more grounded and I'm making better decisions. And so she just kept saying, you have to explain to me more why that worked. And I said, well, you don't need to know all of the details. You just need to know that your body is so smart and so resilient and so brilliant. It knows what it's doing when we let it do its job. So a lot of the techniques that Anthony and I use with our clients, they work with your system, not against it, which is why it becomes really challenging when you're up against some of these symptoms and you're using medications, you're using pharmaceuticals, you're using chemistry, because it starts to override the body's natural ability, the natural instinct that it has inherent to its system to move beyond whatever it considers to be traumatic. So you shouldn't need these like giant solutions when you work with your system and you trust that the body has the answers. But we've gotten so far removed from those answers because we start relying on things outside of ourselves to fix it. We rely on pharmaceuticals. We rely on doctors to tell us how to do something that is working around or trying to circumvent the body's natural ability to heal. So one of the things that we will recommend that you do, one, buy our book. I have one right here. So we've got Transformational Healing. Anthony might have one right there in front of him. So you've got one right there. Grab the book. We do a lot of things within the book. There's exercises in there. There's a workbook that you can also download once you buy the book. It gives you access to the workbook to go through and actually go through the exercises and the tools that we have in there. But if you're at a point where you're like, I have the book, or I'm ready to move forward, or I want to have a conversation specifically with you guys, and you want to see, is this the right move for you right now? Schedule a conversation with us. You can go to, where did it go? Here it is. You can go to nourish123.com/heal. Book a conversation. It's going to be a short conversation to really decide, hey, is this a good fit? Is this something that maybe is a good fit for you to move on to work with us as a private client within the programs that we already have and the techniques that we already use? Or maybe it's not right now. And if it's not, then it's not. But if it is, this may be the next level of where it is that you want to go to have these, to figure out where to go next. Because resilience is the key, right? So movement with resilience and knowing how to move through, knowing how to use somatic release techniques, knowing and understanding how the labs that you're getting done, are they helping to understand what's really going on, or are they just pointing out that something's wrong? Right? Which is what most of the labs are that the doctors are doing these days, is they're just saying, yep, you're out of balance. Like, we know you're out of balance. Or you wouldn't be having these issues. We don't need a test to say, hey, look, you're out of balance, and then call it a day. Why are you out of balance specifically? Physically, emotionally, mentally, why are you out of balance? And what can be then done to help bring you back into balance, back into the ability to be resilient, back into the ability to bounce back from the challenge that you're up against now. Because here's the thing, challenge is always going to be there. The question is that challenge going to help you and move you to another level, or is that challenge going to continue to hurt you and push you backwards and push you under under. We need the challenge to grow. We need the challenge to up level. We don't want to stop the challenge. We want to be able to help your body manage the challenge, govern the challenge, and bounce back from the challenge so that you can grow. And the whole idea of what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. No. No. What may try and kill us may kill us. We don't want that. We want to be able to use the inherent abilities and tools that the body already has to naturally help us and bounce back and be resilient and amazing. So, Anthony, anything else there on the movement that we missed?
No, I think everybody gets the overall idea.
The gist. So it's the right movement to help support your body, not the type of movement that's going to help you to continue to suffer. We want the right movement to strengthen you, help you grow, so that it doesn't hurt you and push you backwards, right? So a lot of you are overdoing things. A lot of times Anthony will have people pull back on some of the working out that they're doing, or I'll have them pull back on some of the exercises and things they're doing because it's too much. So too much is not good. Not enough is not good. We want to find the Goldilocks just right for where it is that you're going next in your resilience. So if you're looking to become more resilient, you want to understand what's causing you to not feel so balanced and not be able to work with the inherent abilities your body already has naturally. Put yourself on our calendar. You can go to nourish123.com/heal, have a quick conversation with us, and really look at what's really in your way. We'll be able to point that out and help you see that. And if we're the right people to help you move through that, we can have a conversation around what that would look like as well. All right. All right. I think that's all for us for today. And then we will see you for part 4 next week on this resilience theme.
I hope all the moms had a happy Mother's Day yesterday.
And yes to that too.